Now jumping back to Latin America, what is Latin America's big B, Brazil, and your first posting in the region. Brazil was always known as the country of the future. Given your experience of the last 15 years, what makes Brazil a very exciting place for Indian companies and investors?
Yes, Brazil is now into the big league now, because it's among the big countries with future. It has got some like common characteristics with other BRIC countries, and then certain unique advantages. It's a large country with large fertile land, water, and with Amazon. And it has got a diversified industrial base, and they have got minerals, and they have discovered 50 billion barrels of oil in the pre-salt area. So now Brazil has become not only self-sufficient but surplus in energy and food. Whereas in the rest of the world there is concern about the food and energy security. Here you have got a country which can supply to more people. And then there is this new paradigm of growth in Brazil, where the government and the private sector, they work together. The Brazilian bank, the government bank BNDES, it pumps in a lot of money to the private sector and to companies to expand, become global players in the region and outside. But more than all these things is the new mindset and vision of the Brazilians. Now they are convinced, both in the government and in the business and among the population in general, the Brazilians have realized that their time has come and no one can stop them now. So they are looking at the future with confidence and optimism, and they are doing everything to become better. So this mindset change is most marked in the whole of Latin America. The change in this mindset of Brazilians is much more than the change in the mindset in the rest of Latin America, and that is the fundamental difference of this new Brazil in comparison to what it was.
Yes. So it's
and also there is one more point which is unique for Brazil. If you take the other BRIC countries and even United States, others have problems of terrorism. They have ethnic conflicts, they have racial conflicts, they have lots of other internal destabilizing factors. But Brazil is free from that. There is no terrorism, there is no ethnic conflict, they speak one language, one religion. So this makes them as unique among the BRIC countries and distinguishes them even from United States, which has to waste billions of dollars in defense and fighting wars.
Yeah. Those are some great points. Speaking of Brazil, and of course President Lula just ended an 8-year term and he handed off to President Dilma now. And he is almost like this vanguard of this Latin American new left. Because historically, leftists in Latin America were maybe similar to the communists in India in terms of ideological leanings. And Lula didn't make too many of his former Workers' Party compatriots happy by kind of becoming more market leaning. The joke in India about these leftists actually being like a Delhi DTC bus driver, signaling left but turning right. What to you? What is a new left? What has changed politically to give rise to this new left?
This is what some people call as the Brasilia consensus, as against the Washington consensus, which drove the region into neoliberalism.
Yeah.
Now, this Brasilia consensus, or some people call it as the Lulaism, is a balance between pro-favela and pro-Wall Street policies. The government of Lula, and he set an example for finding this equilibrium between the pro-poor policies and the pro-market policies. And the government has realized correctly that they cannot take care of the whole population, they cannot provide jobs for everyone, they cannot create wealth for everyone. So they need to give adequate space for the private sector and let them flourish. But at the same time, they have to have inclusive agenda policies to help the poor people to come up. And that's what they are doing wonderfully. So in the last, they say about 10 years, about 30 million Brazilians have come above the poverty line. And at the same time, the industry, the business is booming. Now, this has become a successful model not only for Brazil. I see it as the dominant trend and as a role model for the rest of Latin America. So it is inspiring other leftists and others to follow this model. The clear examples are Mujica of Uruguay and Humala of Peru, ex-guerrillas and ex-leftists. Now, even while fighting the elections, when their opponents were accusing them of being extremists, they said they were going to be like Lula, and they won the elections. So I think this is the trend which is going to be seen in Latin America. Of course, you have some exceptions, but this is going to be the direction in which Latin America is going to move in future.
Now, contrasting Brazil with Argentina, where you've been the last 4 years, what are, in both the political structure and in the economic sphere, what are some differences? Because Argentina has everything going for it. As you know, it's a large country with very few people, lots of resources. But especially over the last 60 years, when, it was at the end of World War II, one of the top 10 richest countries in the world. It's kind of been an underperformer. Being here and seeing both politics and business firsthand, what do you see as kind of the challenges that Argentina is facing? And long term, what are your prospects for its growth?
Brazil has already reached the equilibrium and the confidence and the maturity. In Argentina, the process is going on. I guess they would need some more time, but that is the direction which they are moving.
Going back to some other countries in the region, the Andean bloc countries, Colombia, Peru. Of course, you mentioned President Humala of Peru. So, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, this Andean bloc. What does it have to offer in terms of resources and opportunities for companies?
No, that region is becoming more interesting now. Colombia is the hottest investment destination, not only in Andean, but in the whole of Latin America. Because they were being held back by the guerrillas and the internal problems. But now, as they come out of that, now they are hungry to make rapid progress. So they are very friendly to business and foreign investment. So they are attracting a lot of investment, energy, agriculture, industries. And Peru is also has become the favorite destination for investment in mining. And the economies are doing very well, and despite the changes in government in Peru, but the new president has given this clear signal that he is going to continue those same policies, which would be pro-market at the same time pro-poor. So I see very good scope in Colombia and in Peru for Indian companies.
Now, moving a little north, Mexico, Central America, what are the opportunities there?
Well, Mexico is a larger market of over 100 million, and then it is also the gateway to NAFTA, to United States and Canada. So some of the Indian companies have gone there to produce in Mexico for United States and Canada, and some of the IT and BPO companies also gone there for nearshore operations. So that way, Mexico is a very attractive market. Central America, our companies are going. You have relatively big markets like Guatemala, Dominican Republic. Some of our companies have gone, and now more are going. And these, the governments of Central America have realized the importance of India. They have more interaction. There are a lot of ministerial visits, and they have established embassies in India. and we also opened an embassy in Guatemala.
Sure.
So I expect a lot more action in the coming years.
Sure. Jumping kind of from business to kind of these shared values or these kind of cultural drivers. I know in your talks you mentioned Malgudi and Macondo and the contrast. Can you talk a little bit about that? What are the values of Malgudi and what are the values of Macondo? Giving some context, and I mean I know your upcoming memoirs speak of that as well. So
no, it's not a memoirs. It's about Latin America.
Yeah.
Malgudi is the typical, as portrayed in Arcane Alliance novels, is a typical conservative, simple, innocent, God-fearing folks. Latin America is magical realism and lets you a free play of the spirit.
Yeah.
So for Indians who come from that Malgudi culture to the Macondo culture, initially it's a cultural shock. The same way as these people they feel when they go to India. But then as India is globalizing, as Indians are coming out of these, they seek new experiences and new cultures and expose themselves to new frontiers. They find Latin America is very interesting. It's interesting for a historic reason and also cultural reason. Whereas with Europe, it was a colonial experience, so they always look down on you. The United States is another one. Whereas in the case of Latin America, there is no looking up or down. So they are people, and so they don't know very much about you. So that way, it's a fresh start. And culturally, the Indians who are into all this karma and the stereotyped Indian values of working too much and looking for after the family and that kind of thing. Now they when they come to Latin America, they see that you need to have a balance in life. So it's not only work and saving money, but also you have to spend money and you have to take care of your body and you have to take care of your spirit. So that is a learning experience for the Indians. So when they come here, they open up and they find that there is something which has been missing in their life. So that role is filled by Latin America. And similarly, the Latin Americans who are into the celebrating life, when they go to India, they see the Indian value system, the culture, religion and spiritualism, yoga and meditation as something which brings balance to their life. So it is a win-win for both sides.
That means, very interesting contrast you two. But in terms of this kind of small town versus this spirit and like material and this kind of small town values, magical realism and the contrast, like there's some similarity, and I think the kind of takeaway I have is being equals. It's a kind of partnership of equals and a fresh start where there's no baggage or negative history from the past. But that being said, what do you see are some challenges of Indians working with people from this region?
Well, the main challenge is that the Indians, they have to understand the Latin American culture, their work culture, their life. Like, you cannot put a deadline on Saturday evening or ask anyone to come on Sunday to work.
Yeah.
So this is all no in Latin America.
Yeah.
But although I have spoken to some companies and they say that when they need people to be on call or to come to work on Saturday, Sunday, they had no problems.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in Latin America, in India, if you want more work, you pay more money, the guy would come running to work on a Saturday or Sunday.
Sure.
But here, no, money is not everything, there are other things in life. So it takes some time for the Indians to understand the value system here.
Yeah.
So that is the main challenge for the Indians.
And on the flip side, what are key things about India that Latin Americans should know in terms of working with them?
Well, the Latin Americans, what they learn while working with the Indians is the discipline and deadlines and the commitment to work and putting work ahead of other things, and then the hunger for success.
Yeah.
These are things which open up the eyes of the Latin Americans, and so in a competitive world, you have to be you have to have these traits,
Sure.
and that is something which they learn from the Indians.
Meeting somewhere in the middle, Africa. There's now this political forum, IPSA, for India, Brazil, South Africa, to meet and share things and build trade along this corridor. Where do you see India and Latin America, or how do you see cooperation unfolding in Africa?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, because Africa is the route to Latin America. So, in fact, if you see the history of India-Latin America trade, it got a boost after the opening of South Africa.
Yeah.
Because that is the transit point for
Sure.
flights as well as for ships. And India has political historic connections in Africa.
Yeah.
Latin America is new to Africa. They don't have much experience, but there's a lot of opportunity for them to do business. So that is where I see synergy between Indians and Latin Americans to join together for projects, to do business, and it's something natural since they are midway between India and Latin America.
So, final question. In your on your website, you have this great article from Pundi to Punta Arenas, telling of your life story, which is very inspiring. What is your message to young people watching who are disillusioned in life and are looking for something new? What's your message for them?
No, it's basically you have to believe in yourself, irrespective of what the others say or what the society says or what you are stereotyped, and that is what makes you move forward and have confidence, achieve things, and then be happy with yourself. And then it also makes your interaction with other people easier, because very often one is pulled down or boosted up by what other people say or other people perceive. That could be an inspiration, it encourages you to go up, or other people can pull you down. And that's why you have to have the confidence in yourself, the belief in yourself, and the belief that you are capable of doing things more than what you think you think that is your capability. We have remarkable capacity to stretch ourselves beyond what we think that we are capable of, and that is where there is this factor of inspiration and encouragement from other people come. So when you are confident, when you have the belief in you, automatically inspires other people also to respond, and also you make friends of that type. So that makes you go forward, make yourself happy, and also you make other people happy.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador, for your time. It's been a pleasure. Your work is very inspiring, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you. Good luck to you. Okay.